Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Mary Ann Faremouth. We hope you do enjoy today's show.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, a division of Authors Marketing International, an organization that supports writers and authors all over the world. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth. I'm a multi-genre author, career coach, and recruiter. And I am just thrilled to be the host of this episode because we are going to be talking to somebody that I highly admire and respect. And that person is Max Reagan. Max is a teacher. He has published international books and poetry, and he's the founder of Holodeck Press. And he's taught poetry, prose, and creative writing to various groups for the past 30 years. And as a longtime student myself of Max Reagan, I can honestly say that Max not only helps his students realize their potential as writers, he really cares about the transformative journey that is as much a part of real life as any written story. His wisdom helps his students navigate the journey of life and undergo a metamorphosis that allows them to become their best self. And after that incredibly long introduction, without further ado, help me welcome Max Reagan. Max, say hello to us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. What a wonderful introduction. I want to print that out, Mary Ann, and carry it around with me. That's a good one.
Well, you know it's from the heart, and it's all true. I've been a student of Max for many, many years, and written 2 books, and been very successful because of his guidance. And
more to come. More as we speak, which is wonderful. I can't thank you enough, Mary Ann, and Indie Beacon and AMI and Authors Marketing International for this opportunity, a chance to speak to you all and to just share this time with you tonight. I think it's a really wonderful time as the new year is starting to talk about writing and talk about how we address it and the kind of community we do it in and which kinds of things can help us move forward as working writers. So thanks so much.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. And as all of us, are the first of the year looking at all these goals we want to accomplish. But Max, tell us how this work and this career did start for you.
Yeah, it's always a great question, I think, for every writer and certainly for every teacher. I was very lucky. My mom was a teacher for many, many, many years. And she was somebody who believed very strongly in education and who loved books and who loved the arts, loved theater, loved music. And so I was read to when I was in utero. She would read to me even before I was out in the world. And I think that coming into the world with the sound and the rhythms of narrative in my ears already was a great gift. And then her career was an extraordinary thing. And she encouraged me not only to make the most of my own education, but also to see the power and the responsibility in becoming a teacher, and that to be a teacher is truly to be a lifelong learner. So I started tutoring when I was, 19 and still in school myself, and went all the way through college and studied literature and language, and came all the way into graduate school and got a master's degree in both prose and poetry, and then founded my own business because I found that I really loved working with people one-on-one, and I quite loved teaching. So it was somewhat of a straightforward path and a little bit curvy in there at times, but I'm grateful to have landed where I've landed.
Well, great. Well, tell us a little bit about your approach. I mean, I've taken a lot of writing classes from many different kinds of venues, but your approach is a little different. And tell the listeners out there how it is. What is it about? How do you do it? Your approach.
I guess it is a little bit different. I had such incredible teachers. I had sort of the best and the worst of all the people there were to study with when I was moving through school. But I was always presented with the idea that being a working writer was as much a matter of luck or genius or giftedness or talentedness or who you knew or chance or happenstance or playing the game. No one ever really, or very few people really ever presented it to me as simply the work that you're deeply committed to and that you learn your craft as you go all the way through your life, and you'll never stop learning it. And it doesn't stop you from releasing work into the world along the way. So, people talked a lot about what a great finished draft looked like, but nobody ever spoke to me that I remember about the power of what I call the drafting process, which means great texts are not magic tricks. They are built, they're constructed, just like we build anything. We are working writers, which means we roll up our sleeves and we go to work. We don't wait around for the muse to answer her cell phone. We don't think of it as only for the, those who are perfect or gifted or talented or marked as special in some way. Stephen King once said that talent is as common as table salt. And what matters is not whether you are good at something, but what you do about it. So in working the drafting process, both in classes and with individuals, I try to take them all the way through the life cycle of a great text, whether that's a project or a poem, a short story or a novel, whether it's a memoir they're working on or a private project for a private audience or a public project that they intend to, go all the way to the top of the food chain and publishing. Everything kind of starts in the same way. We have experiences, we get ideas, we create source text. We evolve those into big, horrible, messy first drafts if we're lucky. We put a lot of clay on the wheel before we start trying to take off what doesn't need to be there. And, Michelangelo said, I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set him free. So if we're lucky, this is something that invites abundance from us. And so we go all the way into second drafts and we work with our beta readers and our community. We go into third drafts, we work with copy editors, and we come all the way to the end of the process and we made something really rigorously formed that we have great belief and heart in. And then we decide how we'd like to move it into public space if that's something that we're called to do. And so I really walk people, if I can, through both the magic and the mechanics of what it means to be a working writer, and that it is a team sport. We're always told being a writer is about individual effort. It's just you in the Paris apartment with the quill pen and the light coming through the window, and okay. But really, this is a team sport, as almost every important thing that we build usually is.
Well, the thing that I think is so wonderful too, Max, is that you offer so many different services in what you do. It's not just that, if you want to write a book, you have to go to Max, but if you have a piece that you want to write, an essay, talk to these people about all the different services you provide, because there's many. And I think that people sometimes, think that people like you would only work with an author who wants to be published, but tell the people out there about what kind of services you provide.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. I've found that every writer is a complete individual. I don't really sell packages, and I'm not a one-size-fits-all kind of guy. I'm a Southern boy, so I believe in the art of listening and conversation and building rapport and trust and a comfort zone with people. And as a teacher and as an editor and a writing coach, thankfully I don't do it all. I'm not a copy editor. I'm not your proofreader. I'm not your literary agent. I'm not your acquisitions editor at a publishing house. But I work as a developmental editor, and I work as a writing coach, and I work as a teacher. And the classes that I offer, the things that are opportunities I offer for people to strengthen their craft, run the gamut from one-on-one sessions with me for an hourly fee. For some people meet with me each week, some people meet with me once or twice a year. It's completely customizable to what really will help them move forward. And I also offer book lectures every month, where we meet on Zoom and we talk about the book and the hook and the cook and who made it and what it is and why was it well known, or what does it represent, what genre is it in, right? I offer weekly writing classes. I'm doing a story lab right now for people working in narrative nonfiction and memoir, people working in short stories and novels, and that meets once a week for a couple of hours. I'm also doing a weekly class in poetry right now, which is just a workshop kind of lab hybrid where we look at some work and we do some writing exercises. And I also do intensives a couple times a year. I do a 10-day retreat in June of each year, usually residentially here in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. But lately I'm doing what I do on Zoom, and I'm finding it's wonderful to reach people inside their homes and to spend that time with them, that we're able to reach out to a much broader socioeconomic group of people who don't have to necessarily buy a plane ticket or pay for housing to join a class or to join an intensive or a retreat, or to really get in the middle of things. And I also do craft classes once a month for either a day or a weekend to work on a certain aspect of craft in prose or in poetry, fiction or nonfiction. So all kinds of stuff.
Okay. I know, and I've been a part of all of it, most not all of it, but a lot of it. And real quick, we've got about a minute here to wrap up, but you mentioned two different things. You mentioned being a career coach and also developmental editor. And if you can, how would you say those two things are different?
Yes, so very simply, developmental, otherwise known as content editing, is about working with the text, and being a writing coach is about working with the person. So I do both together. I always combine them because you have to get to know an individual to know what they want, where they get stuck, what they do easily, what their goals are. And then working with the text is examining the genre, the subgenre it's in, where is it going, what stage is it in now, character development, plot, all the developmental things that you look for to try and help create clarity and allow the text to achieve whatever the author's goals are for it. And as you so skillfully said, not everyone has public goals for their work. Some people have private goals.
Okay, well, let's take a break. We'll hold that thought and let our sponsors do their thing. We'll come right back.
Welcome to B4R.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors, where indie authors can earn their fair share from the books you purchase. We have a wide variety of genres that you can select from. We also have ebooks and paperbacks. You can select authors by their first names, and we also have music. If you're interested in their city or country, we have that listed as well. If you are an author and would like to be on our bookstore, we have three options for you. There is a small minimal charge, or you can join our organization at authorsmarketing.org and learn how to better market and sell yourself. That is B4R.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors.
Hi, I'm Charles Brakefield.
And I'm Rox Berkey.
Together, we write as Brakefield and Berkey.
Our techno-thriller series is 12 books strong, with book 13, The Enigma Tracer, planned for 2022.
Techno-thrillers are the cyber good guys versus today's darknet thugs.
We added our series prelude, Out of Poland, a 1939 historical novella, in 2021.
We also have 8 short stories available in family and women's contemporary genres, with more planned for 2022.
Please visit our website, enigmaseries.com, to learn more about why we say technology is today's weapon of choice. Thank you.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Mary Ann Faremouth. We hope you do enjoy today's show.
Welcome back to the Indie Beacon Show, a division of Authors Marketing International, an organization that helps writers and authors all over the world. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth. I'm a multi-genre author, and I am just thrilled to be visiting tonight with someone that I so highly respect and admire, and that's Max Reagan. And Max was talking to us just a few minutes ago about the different services he provides, the classes he has. But, you know, Max, I think we can all agree, 2022 is starting out to be somewhat, of a little bit of a challenge, and some of us might have more restrictions and have to be home. And why do you think? I mean, I can talk about what I think, but why do you think the community of writers during times like this, especially online, is really helpful for people? Why? Can you tell us your feelings about that, and then I'll maybe chip in a little bit.
Absolutely. No, please. I'd love to hear how you see that as well, because we are as a global community, and certainly as a global artistic community, we are in a time of extraordinary change on almost every front. Personal change within our families, health concerns, issues of social and racial justice, issues of environmentalism and what's happening in the greater world around us. We are in just a time of amazing change and huge change, some of it dire, some of it exciting. Artists have always been at the forefront of periods of change in global society. They have been the ones who have been kind of carrying the flag for every new evolution into a new world. And so right now, it's so important to encourage people to engage their artistry, to pick up that novel they put down a long time ago, to dive into poetry, because it's so flexible and so capable of portraying anything that you want it to hold. It is a time for self-expression. It's a time to use the voices that we have, whether we're writing for performance or we're writing, to be read on the page, or we're writing in whatever way we're writing for whatever audience and whatever genre. If we have something to say, there is an urgency to saying it now. And so the ability to reach out to people through Zoom, although it's not nearly as much fun as being with each other in person. Again, I'm a very social guy, so I love being in the room with folks. I got on a lot of planes before COVID times, and I didn't mind it at all. But now Zoom allows us to step into one another's living rooms. It's very personal, intimate space that we step into. It's a great vulnerability to welcome people into your home, as it always has been all over the world. And when we meet on Zoom, for all the technological ins and outs, it is a wonderful way to capture people where they are, not where they think they should be. We can capture a broader array of people who may have different financial structures or different responsibilities. Maybe they're caring for an elder or for children. Maybe they are working from home for their career. They may not have the expendable income or the flexibility to move around. And so I think it's really important we use the tools available to us. But how do you see it, Mary Ann?
Well, I see it, it's to broaden me. It's, with all the isolation and, having the limiting experiences of not being with people, being on Zoom, Max, with, your classes, I've met people from Baltimore, from Boston, from Australia, and being in these classes with all these different writers, I grow as a writer and as a human being, and I've cultivated some really strong friendships from the writers that I've met. And
Yes.
I think, it's helped me grow. And, there's one woman and who I'm talking about, and we really help each other. We read each other's writing. We talk to each other about business situations. And I think that, the one benefit of Zoom has been that it does allow us to connect with people in different places with different cultures and learn about them. I mean, the teachers you've had, some of the ones you've had on there, I mean,
Yes.
it's been so enriching for me. And this year, Max, are you going to continue to do all those great classes on Zoom? Or
I am. We're, for the foreseeable future, we're going to stay with Zoom. I work with people on the phone. I work with people by Zoom. You can use FaceTime. We have a lot of tools that we can use. But you just said something so important, which is the other people who have been kind enough to come and teach for me. And my original goal for this business was never to be the one who provided all the learning. There's plenty of stuff that I'm still learning, plenty of ways I'm growing my craft. And so when I bring in extraordinary writers and artists like Lisa Berman, the award-winning poet and novelist, the wonderful Diane Macklin, Baltimore-based storyteller extraordinaire, when I bring in the great Harriet Riley, New Orleans-based memoirist and teacher of memoir, when they come to lecture and teach for me, so generous of them to do that, they bring something to the table that I could never bring. And that is one of the joys of running my own business, is to seek out the folks in my community who really have areas of expertise and offer classes and lectures and events that involve those people, so that I can expose the folks in my community to just a broader array of voices and perspectives and ways of doing things.
Well, and I also think that, being a writer, as you said, it's something that helps us grow as individuals, but it also helps us learn about others and other ways of, in other genres. And that my forte is more or less nonfiction, but taking all these classes and, learning all these different techniques, I have tried my hand at fiction. And I'm still learning, but I'm doing much better. And the thing of it is, I think these classes allow us to hear other writers in different genres, and we learn from them. And then it allows us to expand our craft. And I think that's great.
Imagination is so important right now. It's how we're going to solve the problems in our world, is through acts of imagination, by conceiving something as possible that hasn't been possible before. That's how we're going to get out a lot of the messes that we're in. And so fiction writers especially are walking out in front of us and saying, you have to have a strong imagination to build a better world.
I think so. And I think, the service and when you put us sometimes in the classes in the small groups, and we read each other's writing, and we give ideas. And the other thing that, I think is so positive and so wonderful about the way Max teaches is that he starts off, in his classes, and it's very known that the feedback has to be positive. And the critiques are positive, and we are careful with what we say. I know when I first started writing, and I was taking another class, it wasn't from Max, and somebody read something I wrote and said, what is this? And it made me real uncomfortable, but I've never heard that in any of your classes. And I think the beginning of the class, you really make it clear that, It has to be constructive. It has to be
Yes.
positive. And
And
not that it's going to be wishy-washy or not true, but I think that, we are vulnerable as writers, as artists, and I think we're sensitive. So I think that's a good thing. I mean,
yeah, the word constructive is the best word. It's about being useful and specific. It's not necessarily about positivity or negativity at all. People who give feedback are not the people who dive into opinion. Opinion is very linear. I like it, I hate it. That's great, that's wonderful, that sucks. I don't understand it. You could never do that. All of that is fine, but it doesn't help the writer become a stronger writer. It doesn't help the text become a stronger text. So when people step into classes and community who are not familiar with that structure before, they often fall under this bizarre belief system that to be polite is you're just being nice, right? You're not helping me at all by telling me what's working. But to be negative or cruel or harsh is really to help me. That's thickening my skin or toughening me up. In reality, all of that is white noise. None of that is true and none of that matters. People who give feedback in community, as every editor and every member of a writing group should do, worry about being specific, being useful, grounding their comments in the text. It's not about being positive or being negative. It doesn't matter at all. It's about helping the author get where they want to go. So we don't devolve into opinion. Opinion is absolutely useless. It's one of the only things I ask you to check at the door when you join a writing class with me. So we work way harder than just the mechanics of it's good, it's bad. We work way harder than that.
Oh, I know we do. I really applaud you for conducting it that way. The other thing too, I think about writing, Max, it's just so great, is that I know for me, when I went through a tough time, writing was almost therapeutic, right? And the first class I think I took was writing for healing. And I think sometimes in times like this, challenging periods that we're going through, being able to put your thoughts on paper and getting them out. If you're in big time fear, you've lost your job, or you're not quite sure what the future is going to hold, or you're going through a serious challenge with the virus or whatever. I think, don't you, Max, agree with me that writing can be very therapeutic? It can help you release some of that anxiety, some of that fear. So that's another great aspect of the craft. We've got about a minute, Uncle. Can you tell us quickly?
It's a great gift that any self-expression practice gives us, that being a working artist, whether you're a dancer, you're a writer, you're a painter, you're a sculptor, it doesn't matter what you do. If you can self-express, if you can say, this is how I see the world, this is what I've been through, this is who I am, this is where I've been, and this is, I think, where I'm going. The ability to see the self clearly is the golden ticket to figuring out how to move forward in our lives. And so especially in times of trauma or change, it can be an incredibly vital practice to have a vibrant, artistic, regular practice and regular community that values how you see the world, because it's not a one size fits all. It's not about comparing yourself to anyone else. So it can feel therapeutic and evolving, even if you're writing to entertain. Maybe you're writing to educate, maybe you're writing to entertain, lots of different.
Okay, all right, well, let's hold that thought. We'll take a break and let our sponsors do their thing and come right back.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I'm an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Authors Marketing International, a membership-based organization where members learn how to better market and sell themselves. Join us at authorsmarketing.org.
Mary Ann Faremouth is a career consultant with 30 years experience in the national recruiting world, a multi-award-winning author in multi-genres, and a speaker that gives presentations to help you succeed. Her book, Revolutionary Recruiting, made the top 20 global list of recruiting books. Find her on Amazon, your favorite bookstore, or at fairmouth.com.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Mary Ann Faremouth. We hope you do enjoy today's show.
Welcome back to the Indie Beacon Show, a division of Authors Marketing International, an organization that supports writers and authors all over the world. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth. I am a multi-genre author, recruiter, and career coach. And we've been visiting with the amazing, highly acclaimed Max Reagan. And Max, we've covered so many things. We've talked about the craft of writing. We've talked about developmental editing as opposed to being a career coach. We've talked about how the community for writers has been so helpful to so many people. And we've talked about in these tough times that writing really is so helpful. It's almost therapeutic in some ways, but also it allows artists, allows just ordinary people, if they're not even an artist, to be able to express who they are, what they are feeling, and maybe what they want to become. So for all the different types of people that may be listening to this program, Max, if you know they're thinking about writing, or they've got something written, they don't know what to do, how to go forward, or they want to write a book, or they want to write an essay, and they're hearing this and they want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Yeah, a couple of ways. The easiest way is really just to drop me an email. You can send an email to holodeckpress@mac.com. Hollow like empty, deck like the deck of a ship, and press like to push, all one word. holodeckpress@mac.com. And that you can just drop me an email and tell me what you're thinking about. You have an idea, you have a text, you might want to take a class, you're curious about something, you want a recommendation for something. If there's a way I can help, I'd be happy to. And the other thing you can do is you can go to the old version of my website. The new version is coming out soon, but the old version is still up. And you could just go to maxregan.com, maxregan.com. And that will show you the Holodeck Press website. That's just the name of my business. And it'll show you a little web link there that'll take you to the current flyer of classes, and it gives you little information on coaching and editing and what I do.
Okay. And what will the new website address be? Is that holodeckpress.com?
Yeah, it'll probably be right there at the same URL at holodeckpress.com, and holodeckpress.com and maxregan.com go to the same exact place. So you can use either, but it'll just be a newer version of what's up there now. And it'll have some kind of fun stuff, some articles and some essays, things to keep in mind if you're looking for a writing class with someone who isn't me. Like, how do I know if I'm getting scammed, or if my teacher is qualified, or if this is the right room for me? What do I do with an idea if I'm not already into a text? There's gonna be a lot of material that I'm giving away. We even have a really amazing residency offering coming up as we go into 2022. I'm gonna offer 10 days at a very small cottage in the Caribbean, in the US Virgin Islands. And people are going to send in text, and the judge that is going to judge those who isn't me is going to pick the best manuscript from that pile. And we're going to give 10 free days of a writer's refuge all alone in this beautiful place to somebody who needs a quiet place to work. So I'm really looking forward to the stuff that's going to be on the new website. It's coming soon.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I have been in the Caribbean. And
yes, you have. Yes, you know.
In fact, I finished my first book in that writer's space, and it's wonderful. But if you had to tell somebody out there that's on the fence about writing, Max, if you had to give them maybe 2 or 3 reasons why they should give it a try, what would those reasons be?
Sure. Yeah. You know, the first one is because, quite frankly, if you have something to say, you need to say it. And no one can say your truth except you. No matter how many good books you've read, or how much you think it's already been said or told or written, no matter how many movies you saw that seem very similar to your life, or a memoir that seems to talk about your themes exactly, you are a unique human being. And if you have a story to tell from your memory or your observation or your imagination, it's not out there until you put it out there. No one is you. No one has had your wounds and your gifts and your triumphs. No one has your sense of humor. Nobody has your imagination, which is more unique than your fingerprint. So you are singular. And I think that would be the most important thing. And also the idea that you don't need to do it alone, that there's a team of people who exist to support you and help you. And you can find your way to professionals who are qualified, who work in the literary industry, and work with great integrity and great heart. And community that can keep you company and support you along the way, who aren't going to steal your ideas or compete with you, or make you feel bad about yourself. There are really wonderful writers and writing communities out there. So you are singular, and until you do it, it's not done. And you don't have to do it alone. And I guess the third idea is your work will surprise you. You may think you're writing just this story for the people in your family, but when you get into it and you really get into the narrative and the scene work, you get into telling your truths fully in detail, you might find the audience for that is bigger. And you might find you're working on a novel, it becomes short stories. You might find you're working on a script and it becomes a memoir, or you're working on an essay and it becomes a poem. Your work will always surprise you. It's a living thing, and it's always growing and evolving. It is capable of more than you think it is.
Well, I cannot say enough good things about Max Reagan. He has helped me grow as a human being and as a professional more than anyone. And he's taught me so many wonderful things about the craft of writing, but he's taught me a lot of things about life. And I've learned about so many different things, different kinds of genres, people from different countries. I've read so many wonderful books that he's introduced me to. And so if you're listening to this program and you have any inclination to write, to be with writers, to be an author, to just do an essay, or just to take a class on a Saturday afternoon
Right.
for 4 hours, okay? Even if you don't even have a clue of what you would be, doing after that, but just to have a new experience, check out Max Reagan, because the people you'll meet, the experiences that you will go through, the training that you will experience too, will be so wonderful. So Max, we thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I know you're always so busy, and Authors Marketing International is thrilled to have someone of your caliber on the show. We hope you'll stay connected to us.
Absolutely.
And again, this is Authors Marketing International Indie Beacon Show, and this has been Max Reagan, wonderful career coach, developmental editor, teacher, poetry writer, published internationally. Just a great guy, smart man. And we thank you for listening. And if you cannot remember any of the things you've heard, if you're in your car, all of this information will be on my website, which is fairmouth.com, and also Authors Marketing's website, authorsmarketinginternational.org, to be able to get a hold of Max Reagan. Again, thank you, Max. We appreciate it, and all the best to you in 2022. And I know I'll be seeing you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Indie Beacon Show, produced by B. Allen Bourgeois for the Authors Marketing International, LLC. Copyright 2022. Voiceover by B. Allen Bourgeois. If you would like to be a sponsor of the show, please contact us at authorsmarketing@outlook.com. If you would like to be on this show, it is free to authors. Simply fill out the form at indiebeacon.com. The music is provided by Happy Follows. The music is entitled